Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy to have you with me this evening. It is a little bit past, I'm actually on time this time. It is 7 p.m. on the East Coast. Look at me go, actually on time. Usually I'm close, but this time I actually made it on time. Look at that. It's a weekend, I guess, so I'm not doing anything. I'm kidding. I'm always doing something. But yes, so happy to be here with you this evening. And an AMA. I did not do an AMA so far this week. I was focused on something different every single day this week, but I did want to bring up, I guess, what happened last week, not the RFK Jun that everyone's talking about, not that, but instead there was something else that happened. There was, in case you didn't know, there was actually a Democratic National Convention last week. There was, I know, everyone kind of forgot. I'm happy about that, but they did. They kind of forgot about that. And it happened. It did. And I know that some people thought, oh, wait a minute, Larry, was that really a convention? It was, but it was something else. It was a coronation. Yes, it was. It was a coronation of, I think soon to be empress is my assumption. I don't know. We have a queen here in New York, so I guess we get an empress. Is that how that works, right? The queen and then the empress. Whatever the aristocracy is, I don't really know how that works, but I'm assuming the title will be empress. So again, if you want democracy, you want democracy. Okay, I get it. Elect the appropriate empress, and then she will give you the appropriate amount of democracy that she deems required for you. Greedy people, don't do that. Don't do that. So yes, she will do so. The coronation last week, and I know if you're a Democrat, you probably enjoyed it. You probably thought it was fun and exciting, and you would be right. It was absolutely, and again, no shade on anybody. I don't support Trump or Harris. I don't. I've been obvious about that for decades, right? That long I've been talking about how much I can't stand I haven't voted for I haven't supported those two parties for forever. In any case, it was a good show. I'm not gonna hate on them. It was a good show. They put out a very impressive show filled with stars and stories and movies and the whole deal. I watched it. It was a great show. So was it truthful? No, not at all. But that wasn't their goal. Their goal was not truth. So to be fair, they weren't trying to be truthful. They were trying to be exciting and fun and new. And they were trying to kind of reboot Harris as some amazing, awesome woman who's full of joy. And I love that idea. The woman who literally spent her time putting people in jail, ruining their lives for weed and all types of dumb drug laws, is for freedom, right? That was the thing. Freedom and joy was all over. She's for freedom. I don't know whose freedom. And the woman who, again, I'm going to say this literally helped to enslave Black men in California. She's the blackest of all the Black people now. You get mad at me for saying I don't care, but that's what she is. And she's for freedom and joy. That woman is that. And you might say, Larry, that sounds funny. No, that actually happened. And there is a huge chunk of people who buy that completely. I would argue, whether you're happy about this or not, and as a matter of fact, I'm happy about it, that worked. That story was so good. My question, of course, would be, if she really was this amazing person, and maybe she is, I don't know how, but I don't know her personally. Maybe she's this amazing person. Why didn't they say that in 2020? Why wasn't she this amazing, joyful freedom fighter in 2020? Maybe because she was never that person. And then they said, oh my God, now she's in trouble. Let's make her this new thing. Maybe, but I could be wrong. But I don't know. If I was her campaign manager in 2020, I'd have done this in 2020. She'd have beat Biden. She'd have beat Tulsi Gabbard with this. If she would have had this in 2020, she would have absolutely beat everybody else. No doubt she would have. 100%. Totally, she would have won all of that. But she did not. So what are you going to do, right? That was amazing. But another piece I want to bring up, if I could, Michelle Obama. Now, many people have asked me about that. They said, "Oh, what about Michelle? What about this?" I mean, Michelle Obama is another great speaker and rocked the House. Again, no, not trying to, I'm not going to vote for her, but I have eyes, I have ears, I can see her talent. She was never a bad speaker, but she has become even better. Michelle Obama can rock a house, no doubt she can, and she did. Again, wish it was truthful. It would be nice if what she said was true, but man, did she rock that house. She was very good at what she did, right? She was very good at what she did. And she was able to get people to believe all this stuff and say, she's awesome. And Democrats don't cheat and lie, while they are literally cheating and lying. For those of you who saw my News Nation video from this morning, if you want to check it out, to my YouTube page, I literally scolded a guy for lying blatantly. They don't change the rules. Literally changed the rules on me and multiple people and on RFK Jun and everybody else. They changed the rules on Tulsi Gabbard. If you remember in 2020, was it? In 2020, they changed the rules on Tulsi Gabbard. And then when Bloomberg wanted to come in and had a bunch of money, they changed the rules again for him. So Tulsi Gabbard, you don't have that much cash. Change the rules, you're out. Oh, wait a minute, Bloomberg, you got a big check? We're just kidding. We're just kidding. We can change the rules. Rules. Who needs rules when you have $500 million? Who needs rules? And that's basically what the Democratic Party did. And that was again and again and again. So again, kudos to the Democrats for an amazing and absolutely awesome show they put on. And I'm serious when I say that. Well done. Other political parties should watch that and copy that for their own. Absolutely true, right? Absolutely true. And on the other side of that, we should try to be honest, though, because none of that was true. All of that was just stuff they made up. I don't think any of that's true. And I guess the worst part is at the end, when Harris spoke, she didn't say anything that was real. I think that too. So I wanted to start with that. This is an AMA. You can ask me anything. I'll take all questions, as always. But that's where my head was. I wanted to bring that up and say that I do think that we absolutely had a great show by Democrats last week. It is a master class on what to do and how to do it. I think it absolutely is. But I do think that we should not fall for it. Maybe that's what I'm saying. We shouldn't fall for it. It's obviously all fabricated, right? It was full of stars, but it did show something else, though. Here's what I'll give them. This is where Republicans have screwed up. Republicans have put so much into Trump. They have not built out a very deep bench. Their bench is kind of only people that Trump says is okay. That's not a good enough bench. The Democrats do have a very deep bench full of talented speakers. That they have. For the future, unless Republican Party opens up its bench in the next 2-3 years, they're going to have a problem, because Democrats have a very deep bench of talented liars. I mean, talented speakers. Misspoke there. Of talented speakers that will move crowds and will get people to think that. So I hope that was interesting for you guys. Let me grab a couple if I could. By the way, click that like button. I know I ask you all the time. Please click it. Every single click does matter. Please do so. All right, if I can keep going down here, we'll grab some of these. Sarah says, I'm happy that supporting Kennedy led me to finding you, Larry. Oh, thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. What most people don't understand is I have been supporting third-party candidates for a long time. That's true. I mean, I'm a libertarian. That's the party that is closest to me that I still support. But I have been supporting third-party candidates for a long time. I've interviewed them on this show. I have been a moderator of debates with them on the campaign trail. All those things. I've literally interviewed Constitution Party people. Also, believe it or not, the Prohibition Party guy. Yes, there's a Prohibition Party. Yes, ASP, American Solidarity Party. I've interviewed them also. Green Party, obviously. Howie Hawkins is a friend of mine. So Cornel West at Freedom Fest. I've never interviewed Jill Stein, though. I've never gotten to interview her. But yes, the third party, independent party is the way. There is no doubt. We have to do that. So yes. All righty. Phil says Luke Skywalker supported the Empire. All right. For those you don't know, that's very good. Thank you. That Mark Hamill, who played Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, obviously was there and clapping and all on board. He was like, "Yes, I know I played Luke Skywalker, but that's an actor. In reality, I'm all about the Empire, all about the Empire, 100%." Mike Voss in the house. Kamala still has no policies. She's provided zero substantial reason for her to run. The entertainment show isn't worth presidency. Sadly, I think lots of Americans would disagree with you. I'm on your side. I agree with you, Mike. But I think a lot of Americans are like, no, that's beautiful. Let's do it. What we don't understand is the Democrats have said openly, happily, eagerly, to save democracy, we must destroy it. How else can we save it if we don't destroy it? Kamala has won no votes in no primaries in 2020 or 2024. She was selected in 2020 and selected in 2024. The Democrats said, we care about democracy, so we will appoint someone, anoint them, and then coordinate them. And you people, please shut up. Shh. Bread and circuses, be impressed by our glamour, and that's her. So I think you're right. Yes. Kayla says, I'm not here for entertainment. I want a good leader. They can take their show and shove it respectfully. The problem is, Kayla, I'm with you. I'm not saying you're wrong here. I'm agreeing just like I'm agreeing with Mike. The problem is so many people wouldn't know that if they heard it. And then those who would, that's one of the reasons why all the third parties have been shut out, right? They've been shut out. You can't, try to find on mainstream TV, except now, RFK Jr. now, because now he's on the Trump train. So now that he's being seen, but it was hard for him to get on. And he raised tens of millions of dollars, and his last name's Kennedy, and he struggled to get on. That was his entire piece. So I think a lot of people are like you, Kayla, and that's why they won't show them. Because if people saw a great leader, they might go, wait a minute. I can take this cardboard cutout that is Harris or a real leader. Wait a minute. I don't like cardboard cutout when I see a leader. But when I only see amazing, beautifully fashioned cardboard cutout, well, that's some glitz and glamour. I like that. Yeah. So I do have a super chat. Thank you, Fahim, 1999. I appreciate the super chat very much. And just gave it because he loves me. And I love you back, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, absolutely. Guys, if you do want to, you can. If you head over to Larry Sharpe YouTube, you can super chat me if you want to. Your chat goes right to the front. You can also subscribe on YouTube if you want to. Click that bell for notifications. If you're watching on X/Twitter, please retweet, repost, re-X, whatever the thing now, if you could. It does matter. Every little reboot does matter. If you want to help me in the long run, on YouTube, you can click join, become a member, $5 a month, and you get to see my handsome mug all the time. And of course, your comments go to the front. There is the advantage for that one. So there we go. All righty, if I can grab a couple more here. Mike is definitely in there. I like that. Matt says, love you setting CNN folks straight, Larry. That actually was News Nation, but yes, that was News Nation. I'm trying to get on. That's what Fahim says too. He says, good job on News Nation, sir. It's about time someone with a clear mind check the uninformed lefties. I am trying my best to go on whenever I possibly can to represent whenever I possibly can. The advantage I have is I'm not with the campaign. So I can be freer in what I say, if that makes sense, because I'm not with the campaign. So it is better that I'm on sometimes. I try to get them on. The reality is if they can get Bobby Kennedy on, why would they bring me on? Makes sense, right? If you can get the Bobby Kennedy on, get him on. If you can't, they take me on. And I try to get more people to take me on, but we'll see. My goal is, as you just said, to get people to see the value in not just voting for those two. That's the critical piece. Lynn says, it's great seeing you on different podcasts in the past few days. By the way, I will be on Hard Lens Media. My buddy Kit Cabello out of Chi-Town, Chicago, 10 a.m. Hard Lens Media, 10 a.m. Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Eastern Monday morning. So if you want to see me again, I'll be chatting with my buddy Kit Cabello, another Marine, fellow Marine. There's lots of us out there. You see No Sound Bites allowed, Mike Voss, Marine, Howie Hawkins, Green Party, Marine. It's a lot of us here hanging out here trying to make things happen. So there we go. I do appreciate that too. Blue Black Boss says, do you think that Kamala would actually federally legalize marijuana. I have my doubts, judging from her track record. She just wants the stoners vote. Here is the truth about Harris and what makes her amazing for the Democratic Party. And again, for the Democratic Party. She actually doesn't have any actual policies. Mike Voss is right. There's none up there because she doesn't have any. She is whatever will get her elected. She's actually not, in her heart, a Democrat at all. She's a Harrisite, right? I talk about this with Cuomo from New York State. Andrew Cuomo is not really a Democrat. I mean, by name he is, but he would be whatever. Cuomo would be a Republican tomorrow, a Libertarian tomorrow, Green tomorrow, Communist tomorrow, whatever will get him elected. He's a Cuomoist. He just wants to be in charge. Harris is the same. She's a Harrisite. So if the Democrats, okay, Republican, okay, she's whatever, which is why you've seen her policies change so much. She can't put policy up because she doesn't have a core or a center. She doesn't have that. So her people will tell her what her policies are, and she will go, okay, that's what she will do. I'm not joking. I wish I was joking when I say that. That's accurate. That is the reason why there's no policies. You can see my policies up from 2018. They haven't changed because I'm a libertarian, so I have a center. So that's what my personal policies are. Whether I agree with the policies of someone I'm supporting doesn't actually matter to me, if that makes any sense, right? Because I'm trying to move the movement forward, right? So, but my policies, when I'm running, my policies are right there. They're still on LarrySharpe.com now. They've been there since 2018. So my policies are already there. Hers aren't there, to Mike Voss's point, because she doesn't have any. When her people tell her what she supports, she will support it, right? So she supports putting people in jail if that gets you elected. She supports bombing Gaza if that gets her elected. She supports ceasefire if that gets her elected. She doesn't actually care about any of those things. This is why so many of the people who leaned further left in the Democratic Party were happy when Waltz was selected, because they knew, oh, Waltz is actually further left than she is. He actually cares about some of these leftist policies. He does. It's why you saw Cenk Uygur was so happy about it, because Cenk knows also Harris has no actual center. So Waltz might move her to that way, and she'll go, okay, all she wants to do is be elected. Same as Andrew Cuomo. No difference. Cuomo would have changed any policy, any day, any time to stay in power. He was too busy grabbing butts, so that got him in trouble. But he would have done anything. Harris is exactly the same. There is no center. There is nothing there. That is why. So would she legalize weed tomorrow? Yes. She actually doesn't care. That's my point. So to your answer, if Waltz says you should do it, if whoever or her handlers say you should legalize it, 100% she would. Wouldn't think twice. If they say you should double down and execute people for it, she'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. And she'd laugh about it. She does not care. And I'm not trying to be mean. I think if you look at it, you can see that what I'm saying is true. I do tell you when people are true believers. Waltz is a true believer. He does believe that those policies he implemented in Minnesota are good and just. He believes that. He's a true believer, right? He does have a center in what he believes. Harris doesn't. And that's why they love her. He doesn't at all. So yes. Francis says, Hollywood production indeed. It was, wasn't it? I mean, music and the band and the movies. And I mean, it was impressive. That's all I'm saying. It was impressive, 100%. So yes. All right. The Liberty says, so which is true? RFK said he reached out to the Harris campaign first when talking yesterday, but I saw a clip of it. No, his staffers. It wasn't him. The staff did. He was reaching out to the campaign to have conversations just like Trump. He wasn't reaching out for a job. That's the distinction. Did RFK Jr. reach out to the Harris campaign for a job? No, that did not happen. Never happened. Fantasy. Did he reach out to have a conversation? Yes. Why? He wants to be legitimate. The second he was talking to Trump, he got press and was legitimate. The second he got Secret Service protection, just like Trump and Harris, well, at that time it was Biden, he became legitimate. It is a way of legitimacy. That is why he reached out to have if he said, I'm talking to them, they are. That's why Harris wouldn't talk to him. It would have made him legitimate. Now, his staffers went out there looking for jobs because they thought, oh my God, he might drop. We might lose this. What's happening in November? They were looking for jobs. So that's the confusion. Top level staffer. Both reached out to the campaign for totally different reasons. but they're mixing them to make RFK look bad. He knew he couldn't get a job, so that's not what happened at all. He was reaching out for legitimacy. His staffers, who were afraid to lose their jobs, reaching out for jobs. So I hope that's clear now in the difference. There is a difference in the two. So yes. Sarah says, how do we burst the cult bubble Democrats are in? My eyes were opened, but I'm lost now how to have others see. I think we keep backing candidates that will move people. Every movement has to have a person at the center of it in some way, shape, or form. They just have to. I can't see any other way around that, right? I just can't see any way around that. So, yeah, I think that's the answer. So, let's see. Carly says, Tulsi got in the way in 2020. Yeah, and they got rid of her. Yes, they did. And they got rid of her. 100%. Yes. Phil says, Jamal Truelove was framed and put in jail by Kamala Harris for 50 years before his conviction was overturned. Yeah, because joy and freedom. Okay, Phil? Because joy and freedom. That guy now has some joy and some freedom. See how awesome she is? There we go. All good. Joel says, so much joy. Hateful joy. True. Yes, that's correct. All righty. Let's see. Ref Tom Green, published game designer, says it takes some people a few years to reach amazing. JK. It does. She literally is now all that. All of that. Yes. Pigmo says KH, yep, we know who that is, went from incredibly awkward on camera to relaxed and polished like overnight. Kind of wild. Well, here's a piece, right? If you wonder why she hasn't done the interviews, and I'm just being very forward. If I was advising her, I wouldn't let her do it either. She isn't that competent. She isn't that good. She's much better now on the screen, right? When she's reading, she's much better reading now than ever, right? I mean, I've been practicing. I would be practicing with her every day. I would be. Every day she's going to practice reading from the screen to get better at speaking, all that stuff, which she is better. You're correct. But again, once she realized that she was going to become, the anointed one, I'm sure literally every day they're going through this. And then the other thing, the reason why there's no policies is she has to know the policies. She doesn't know the policies. And I'm not joking. If you've seen me in interviews, I can sit with somebody for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours in a conversation on policy. For those who think I'm crazy, I literally, and this is literally, you can go find it if you want to. It's on my YouTube page. I did 8 hours straight without a bathroom break, without a food break of New York state policy. If you go to my YouTube page, put in Larry Sharpe, 8 hours, you will see it pop up. It is literally, it's chopped up, by the way. You don't have to watch the whole thing. It's chopped up, time-stamped by issue. And I went through every single issue, and I ran out of time. I could have kept going. That's how much of a policy crazy guy I am. But if you want to be able to fight in the independent world, you have to be able to know your policies. Now, one thing Biden was good in general is he did know policy well before he kind of lost it. He was pretty good at that, right? Also, Clinton was an amazing policy guy. Like, Clinton knew all the policies. He was very good at that. Very good at that. So sometimes people are very good at policies. I'm good at policy. She's terrible at policy. She doesn't have any. She has no center. So she has to learn them all. So it's time to do that practice. By the time she starts doing interviews, she'll do a couple friendly ones first. This is what I would do. Put her in front of some friendly ones, know what the questions are in advance to get her warm to that. And then right before if she does the debate, then she'll be ready for it. I think you have to do that. Yes. Anyway, Mike has bad news. Says all sources say she has no interest in holding office and giving how much money she's able to grift outside politics. I don't blame her. Yes, the rumors that I heard about Michelle Obama was back in February, I think, maybe February. I have other friends who are in the consulting world like I am. I do business consulting and obviously other consulting too, political consulting. And a couple of guys said that they knew someone who was on Michelle Obama's exploratory committee for vice president. She does not want to be in the top of the ticket. You are totally correct. She does not. Why would she? You're right. She's living her best life. If I'm Michelle Obama, why in the world would I want to get involved in this? I'm living my best life. I'm enjoying everything. I'm making tons of cash. My husband's a former president. I do what I want. All Democrats love me. I don't know why you would. I'm agreeing. I don't blame her either. I would do it too if I were her. But they were considering getting her to support whoever was going to be the nominee. That was the idea. Then they scrapped it and moved on, which obviously they moved on to use her to help out. She'll go out and help. That is her job. I love that. Alexa says, I just want to say thank you because of the past 12 hours, I've been sending people your video from yesterday because they need something to help cope with the DNC's actions against Bobby. Yeah, yes. And this is why I keep doing it. I want people to realize that it's important that people stay focused. There is still more to do. Mike says, LOL, dude, you sold out to RFK for 45K. Two parts to that. One, if it was 45K, so you jealous? Are you jealous that I can make that much money? Is that the case for what I do? Are you? That's what, but of course I didn't sell out. But what if I did? So you jealous? Is that your issue? But not just that. Where were you and the rest of the libertarians who spend their entire life virtue signaling and fighting culture war when I was trying to get ballot access in New York State in 2022? Where were you and the rest of them? You were fighting culture war. You were ignoring me. Or worse, you were putting money someplace else, like into Alabama or Illinois, who now also don't have ballot access. It all failed. The only guy who could have gotten in New York State was the guy you're looking at right now. Yeah. And now guess what happens if Bobby Kennedy gets 2% in New York State? It was an independent party in New York State again. Right now, there are none. Libertarian Party does not exist in New York State. So you can say whatever you want. All you're doing is virtue signaling, making sure nothing works. You want to sound cool. You come on here. Look, my name is Mike Beram. I'm cool. No, you're making a fool of yourself. I don't mind. Give me more interaction and allow me to show the world how silly you are because all you worry about is your virtue signaling. Okay, come on some more. This is an AMA. I take everybody in. Ask me anything. So good luck. Whatever you want to do. I don't care. Let's see here. That Libertarian Lady says, I heard Neil Bort's clip about the reason he's only suspending his campaign is so he can still collect money. That's true. See, this is the issue that people may or may not know about the situation. He did not end his campaign. He actually suspended it. What does that mean? It means he can restart it. Now, would he? Maybe, right? It opens it up. I don't think because of what I saw recently that Trump will screw him over. But he might, right? There's no rule. He could, if he wanted to, go, you know what? I was kidding. To hell with this guy. Call him Nick. He could. It's possible. It does mean that if that were to happen, I'm, again, not saying it would, but it could. There's no law here. There's no rules. You can change your mind whenever you want. If he were, Bobby Kennedy could jump back in if he wanted to for whatever reason. But it also means, what if he's doing very well in one of the states? He's doing very well in Arizona or whatever. I mean, he's out of Arizona, but whatever state. And he wants to try to win that state. He can start his campaign again and go ahead and collect money and move forward. So yes, that is an accurate statement. Neil is correct. It absolutely can be done. And that's the point. He did not drop. They're saying he dropped out. He did not drop out. That's what the mainstream wants you to believe. So you'll forget about him. That's the entire goal because they want you to forget about him. So yes. James says, I would rather use Harris and Trump as meat shields for the zombie apocalypse than have them as presidents. That'd be a better way for them to serve my interests better. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Absolutely. You're not wrong. Sarah says, yes, deep bench of talented liars. Yes, absolutely. And they're good. Like, they're good. They're talented. Like, it sounds great when they say it. Like, it really does sound good. I am impressed by it. Yes. Joel says, did RFK Jr. say he's staying on the ballot in races where he's likely to siphon Democratic votes? He did. Yes. The goal is still to get 5%. That's the goal. You might ask, why would I want to get 5%? Why would we care? 5% officially means that the party in 2028 is eligible for matching funds for the presidency. Those matching funds over the course of the election, of the cycle, I should say, will equal over $20 million. So as you raise money, you get. As you raise, you get. You get tons of money. It means you're now in the game. It doesn't mean you're going to win, but it means you're in the game. You can actually play the game. And if that happens, there'll be lawsuits back and forth. Well, did he have a party? Did he not have a party? Doesn't matter. There'll be lawsuits. There'll be press, and people will care. But more importantly, it shows that this can be done. A lot of people, me included, believed that Gary Johnson could do it in 2016. He got 3%. We were wrong, but we did believe it. I believed it. And a lot of libertarians thought Gary Johnson in 2016, we're going to break 5%. We're going to be set for 2020. We did believe that. Obviously, that was not the case. But in that case, that's why that becomes important. Now, the reality of it is, this is why this is actually a pretty good plan for them. What I mean by that. If he runs heavily in, say, New York, California, Washington, New Jersey, Illinois, very deep blue states, right? Massachusetts. The Democrats weren't planning on spending any money in those states. Neither were Republicans, right? Republicans aren't going to win California. They aren't going to win New York. They're not going to win Massachusetts. It's not going to happen. It's impossible. It's never going to happen. They're not going to spend any money there, right? So Democrats weren't going to spend any money either. Awesome. Now here comes Bobby Kennedy Jr. into those states. Republicans aren't going to spend any money there, but now Democrats have to. So Democrats have spent so much time and money trying to bleed Bobby Kennedy Jr. dry. Now, if he fights in those states, he's going to bleed them. Now, obviously, they have more money, but if he fights in 6 states and they got to drop $20 million in each state, that's $120 million they got to drop in states that weren't supposed to be competitive. And worse off, they weren't ready for it. So now it's building out infrastructure and a plan, and they weren't ready to be fighting Bobby Kennedy Jr. They were ready to fight Trump, if anything, right? They have tons of plans to call Orange Man bad. They're done on that. Orange Man bad, all that. They're ready to do that right now. They got that covered. But Bobby Kennedy Jr., they're not ready for that. They've just been ignoring him. So they have to create a new strategy and drop a whole bunch more money on it. And that's why he would do that. I hope that makes sense. So, yes. Michael says, do you feel like the DNC pushed Bobby Jr. into the Trump camp with the relentless ballot challenges and complete media shutout? 100%. That happens all the time. That's the norm, right? Let's be very clear about something. Do you honestly think that Joe Rogan's a righty? You think he's a conservative? How'd you think? If any of you saw when I was on Joe Rogan in 2018, I literally, within the first like 10 minutes, insulted him and called him a Democrat. I'm not joking. I literally just called him, because he's a lefty. He supported Bernie Sanders. The problem is, the way the Democratic Party has become now, and this was not always true. If those of you who are a bit older like I am, you probably remember an older Democratic Party from years ago that was nowhere near as bad as this one is. I mean, it wasn't anywhere near as bad. You go back to the 70s, they were the party of free speech. They were the party of anti-war. I mean, you couldn't recognize 1974 Democratic Party to 2024 Democratic Party. It's not this. It's not the same party. They're unrecognizable, right, compared to those two. So that's how that was. But now it is you do as we say, when we say, or you are evil, period. So Rogan had some ideas. He put some people on that were different. They went, oh, clearly, basically, you're now a terrible human being. You're a fascist now. It's the end of the world. That's the end of the world. And so, of course, they pushed him over. You think Elon Musk was a righty? No way. Most of these people were not. But they got pushed away. When you get attacked and beaten up so badly by one side, and it looks like there's only one other side, and the other side's going, come on, we'll take you. The right was like, come, Elon, come, we love you. The right was like, come on over. Joe Rogan, come. So, of course, they came. Why wouldn't they? So, yes, every single one of the celebrities who've left the left, it's directly because of the insane authoritarianism, the insane censorship of the modern day Democratic Party. Yes, it's exactly correct. No doubt. No doubt that's true. Yes. Dan says, why does it seem like the Libertarian Party this election has disappeared? It's the reality of it is that the Libertarian, as I was mentioning earlier, Libertarian Party right now is just worried about fighting culture war. And it's fallen into the same as the rest of the country. Fight culture war, don't worry about actual change, and that's the reason why. You will hear me complain forever, and I will not stop complaining, and it makes you angry too bad. I gave the Libertarian Party the right person. His name was Lars Mapstead. He was not part of any caucus. He was self-funded with wealthy friends. He would have easily raised $5, $6, $8, $10 million over the course of the entire election. He would have made impact. His plan was the plan that RFK picked up is the plan that Lars Mapstead had. That is from now on to be known the Mapstead maneuver, which is to get rid of, to stop 270 and to win electoral votes. So we should have been doing it in 2016, 2020, 2024. The Libertarian Party said no. That's why they disappeared. They can't raise any money. RFK Jun sucked all the money out of the race. And I warned them. I said, RFK Jun will suck all the money out of the race. We're not going to raise decent money. I don't think the Greens, I mean, it's not just Libertarians, by the way. It's not just them. You ask Libertarians, but it's not just Libertarians. Libertarians, Greens, Saturday Corner West, all of them are going to raise less than $1 million this year. Well, Jill Stein may raise more. She may raise more because she's funded by the anti-war left. So she's funded by the anti-war left, so she might raise more. But the rest, they're going to barely raise $1 million this year. And how can you make any impact on under $1 million? I mean, to be forward, Gary Johnson did the best we've ever done. 3%, 4.5 million votes. He raised $13 million. So if you want to double that to get 6% and the 5%, you got to raise $26 million, and that's $2016. So maybe you got to raise $30 million. You know who could have raised $30 million? RFK Jr. In fact, when you count the PAC, he did. That's why they attacked him so much. You don't see them attacking everybody else like that. They're hardly attacking the rest because they can't make any impact. I wanted to make impact. Right? People bug me all the time. Larry, why don't you run all the time? Because I don't want to run unless I can make impact. Well, you could run against AOC. For what? I could. AOC is my congressperson. Could I run against her? I could. For what? I'm going to bug you guys for money. I'm going to bug you guys for your support. Have you go do sign waving so I can make no impact whatsoever? Again, I'm not against virtue signal voting. When you can't make impact, virtue signal vote. I've done it. I'm guilty of it too. But when I can make impact, I want to make impact. I don't run unless I believe I can make impact. In 2018, I made impact. In 2022, I thought I could. I clearly did not. But that's the only time I'm going to run. Hope that answers your question. So yes. All right. Phil asks, do you think Trump will give resources to support RFK in blue states? Yes, I do. I think it makes sense for him to do so because he can throw a little bit of money, a little bit of volunteers, people who are already there who want to help out. They now have a mission, right? If you're in New York State or if you're in Massachusetts and you're, GOP or something like that, they know they can't do anything, right? They know they're not going to win. But there's motivated people who are Republicans. I live in New York State. There are lots of New Yorkers who love Trump. Most of them are not in the cities, but lots of them, millions of them, who just love Trump. They can't do anything. They have to be lied to by the New York State GOP and tell them this is the year, and which is a lie. But they'll tell them that. Now they can stop and go, no. You know what? You want to help out? You want to help out Trump? Get people to vote Bobby Kennedy Jr. Do that. That'll help. Now that gives them a mission. Will they do it? I don't know. The problem is in some of these blue states, the Republican Party is not in charge and has no chance of victory. They basically become a secondary arm of the Democratic Party. New York State's very bad. The New York State Republican Party just wants to grift. They know they can't win. They just want to grift. Can this change that? I hope so, but I don't think so. My gut tells me they just keep grifting and be like, no, he's not one of us. Vote Trump because we could win. I think they'll do that, but I hope not. That is my hope. John says, I love the interview you did this morning on News Nation. When do we know if RFK Jr. is going to make the ballot in New York? We should know by next Friday. There is the final court case for New York State is on the 28th of next month. And hopefully within 2 days, we will have an actual decision whether he'll be in New York State or not. There is time for one more appeal. He has to be yes or no, yay or nay by September 11th. That is when New York State begins to print their ballots. So by September 11th, he has to be yay or nay. So we will know no matter what by then. But it should be by next Friday, the 30th of August. I hope that's cool. Tommy says, if Kennedy, a lifelong Democrat, is endorsing a Republican, something's really wrong with the Republican Democratic Party. Yes, 100%. Yes. And people should get that, 100%. Yes. Ryan says, thank you for the $5, the super chat. I appreciate it. Again, if you want to super chat, you can. It's at Larry Sharpe YouTube page if you do want to do that. But no matter what, guys, please click the like button because every time you click that like button or every time you share it, now all of a sudden more people are seeing it. And now you know who loves that? That guy that I got to make happy, Mr. Al Gore Rhythm. That guy, Al, is always about that. So we got to make him happy. He says, Larry, my condolences on AOC being a congressperson. And I think that my congressman, Jason Smith, is useless, which he is. Two-party system for you. Yes. Here's the issue that is whether you like what AOC stands for or not, here's the issue that's actually bothers me more. I always try to give credit where credit is due. And AOC busted her rump for her seat. Was it 2018? 2020, right? Oh, I forgot. Whatever year it was, I forgot. She busted her rump for that seat. She literally went door to door. She knocked on my door. I'm not joking. Her and her team motivated, rock and rolled, did what was required. I was very impressed by that. She seemed like a grassroots person. It seemed that way. And within 4 years, she was a total sellout. Doing whatever Nancy Pelosi said. And I was like, Again, not that I like her policies, but again, to be forward, if you're voting for those policies, you should get them. And there were a lot of people who were further left than Nancy Pelosi and said, hey, who weren't established Democrats, who said, hey, we want these left policies. And AOC said, yes, I'm behind you. I'm with the squad. I'm going to do it. And she did none of it. Again, I'm not saying I want those policies, but it's not the point. The point is, if you vote for them, you should get them. Doesn't matter, though. Doesn't matter. We thought we were winning with her. She was different. No, that wasn't true. So, yeah, that's very disappointing. 100%. That is very disappointing. Rick, thank you for being a member. Kamala Chameleon. Whoo, boy, is that a Boy George reference. Very nice. I do appreciate that. Yes. So, all righty. Let me grab some of these if I can. Phil says Harrisite. Yes, that's what she is. That's 100% yes. Absolutely. So, all righty. Rick says, because Kennedy can still take money, does this benefit the LP and his deal with Mercado? Yes, the problem is, do people believe in it? Right? Because you've got to put down big dollars. Rick, that is a valid point. Yes, you can. The problem is you've got to believe in it. And the individual has to believe they can make impact. People, you're talking about people writing checks for, I'm not joking, $80,000, $60,000, $100,000 for the campaign / the political party. To do that, people have to believe in you. That's an investment, right? If you can think about that, if you can, and I hope all of you are that wealthy, that you can just write a check for 40 grand to some politician. I hope we're all that wealthy. It'd be amazing. If you can do that, you're doing it not because you love that person. You're doing it because you believe that they're going to get you something in some ways, make a change, make impact, something like that. This is how I was able to raise so much money. I showed them I'd make impact. In 2018, I did. 2022, sadly, I did not. But yes, that's why. So yeah. ABS. Oh no, I'm sorry. ABS How or AB Show? I'm gonna go with AB Show. I like AB Show. I'm gonna go with AB Show. AB Show. How long do you think the CNN ship going is going to take to fully sink? An egregious show from them on RFK News. Two things. One, the advantage CNN has is not that CNN is any good. It isn't. It's losing money. But it's one part of a big piece. Like the people who own HBO also own CNN, right? So the people who own other things also own CNN. So it can lose money for a while before it goes under because it can be pumped up by other aspects of the company. So most people don't know that. CNN, it doesn't live on its own. So it actually can still survive. They'll try to reboot it as many times as they possibly can, if they can. I don't know how long it will take. I think they need a full reboot. My gut says that they have to change something within the next 3 to 4 years. That's just my gut because they're losing, I think, they're losing millions. 9 million, I think. They're losing $9 million a year. Like loss. They're losing money. They're going to start shedding people. The problem is, here's what CNN actually does well. Still to this day, what CNN does well. They have an infrastructure for investigation. They don't use it. They're gossip now. But they have an infrastructure for investigation. What they still do well is they actually do documentaries very well. So if they would just create documentaries, people would buy them. I said it 2 years ago. CNN should become a documentary company. Like they make the 80s. Here's the 80s, and people love that. They watch it. They can sell it to like A&E or whatever, and they can sell these documentaries to other people who are watching. Put it on Netflix, whatever. They did that one on Princess Diana. They actually do documentaries pretty well. They're not bad at it. It's a good skill set they have. They're not using it. I think that is their big deal. In my gut, CNN should become that. They've been trying to become news again, but the problem is their personalities aren't any good. And you see it. Don Lemon's the best example of that. Don Lemon thought, oh, I'm Don Lemon. I'm awesome. No, dude. you're probably because you're on CNN. And second thing, CNN had the airport. If you remember, CNN had the airport contract. So every airport you went to, you saw CNN in. Well, they lost that airport contract. So now CNN's losing money. Right? When you get the airport contract, everybody wants to advertise because everyone's sitting in the airport stuck looking at CNN, watching your commercials. Well, now that's gone. Now what? And it's the second they lost that contract, that's when they started losing stuff, right? And people they're walking away from the cable box. They're watching everything on YouTube. Now, the advantage the other shows have, MSNBC has Peacock, right? Peacock is their thing. Fox News has Fox Nation. Now, neither of those two have done that well, but they at least were getting going, right? CNN was way late. They tried that CNN Plus thing, utterly failed. CNN Plus was a disaster. Lost like a $1 billion, whatever they lost. They lost a ton of money, whatever they lost, right? Put all that money out there and just lost it all. Disaster. They don't have anything like that. The other two do. So they're figuring out what's working, what's not working. So I think Fox Nation, whatever it will become, right now it's not very good, to be forward with you. It's not bad, or it's not very good. But they're at least trying. They're figuring out, okay, what's going to work. Peacock is better than Fox Nation, meaning for making money and such. I don't know if you like their actual content. I don't have either of them for content. I don't really care. But my point is that may be the future. What CNN may also do, and they have a deal right now, if you go to Google right now and you Google anything with news, CNN, Fox, and all the mainstream guys come up first. Doesn't matter who you are. Google assumes that they are the best. So if CNN can make a deal with Google, which they will do because they're all run by the government anyway, and the government will tell them to do so. Again, Bobby Kennedy Jr. literally sued Biden and won over this. The government tells Google who's real, who's not. They decide already. So Google will say, oh, is CNN number one? So my gut says they will make some of a deal with Google so that now you have to go to the pages will all go to CNN pages, and then they make money off of the Google ads. That is what I think they will try to do next. If that works, that will save CNN. If that fails in the next 2-3 years, then they'll have to go to a documentary company. I'm sorry. I don't know if you want to know all that stuff. Guys, I can yap forever on this. So I do AMAs so I can answer these questions. So I hope that was interesting, at least for you. So Alexa, new member, thank you. Every member counts. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Every member counts. So now I can keep this going more and more and more. I appreciate that. Yes. All right. Sassy D says, your voice and educating us is greatly appreciated. What's your thoughts about Bobby doing a mini documentary about chronic diseases? He has to find the right documentary guy or gal. Here is the problem, to be very forward. Most of the time, his documentaries are done by people who love him. He needs to have a documentary done by someone who doesn't love him. Why? Because then they can try to make it exciting, interesting, weird, different. I think that has to work. But I think, yes, he has the name for it. And the advantage is, if I say, I'm going to make a documentary on a chronic disease, people go, you? Who the hell are you? You a chronic disease guy? Shut up, Larry. That's what happens. If he does, they go, oh, really? Huh? You have a built-in audience. You just ran for president. People will watch that. People will buy the DVD and the t-shirt. So yes, Sassy, remember, people making documentaries don't care about the documentary. They care about the cash they can make. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm a libertarian. It's fine. All I'm saying is Bobby Kennedy has a built-in audience, a massive swing state. So I think, yes, he can definitely swing to make a bunch of cash. I completely think that's a good idea. I think he can do it. So my answer is yes. I think it's a wonderful idea. I would do it if I were him. And I think somebody else would actually, who was seeing it, would go, wait a minute, this is a good idea. Let's go do this. Then they would. So yes. All right. James says, are there any Republicans equivalent to Andrew Cuomo and Kamala Harris? Well, one of them got caught, right? It was who was that guy here from Long Island? The guy who was like gay one day and Jewish the next day and then something else the next day. What was that guy? I forgot his name. Had the glasses, divorced but not divorced. He was Brazilian but not. That guy doesn't care. Right? He actually has none also. So a lot of people are that way. You'd be surprised how many are that way. So yeah, that him. There's probably others, but if I'm looking at front, hold, let me think if there's any right now. As I start thinking about it, in the Republican side. I'm sure there are, because this world pushes them. I feel like Rubio does that, Marco Rubio. I feel like he's the kind of guy who just wants to be in charge. And he switches and swaps back and forth on what he thinks, back and forth. So maybe Rubio. That would be my guess right now. That's my guess. So, yeah, maybe him. I'll do some homework on that one. I got to see who's up front. So, Steve Peterson, new YouTube. Thank you, sir. Every member, thank you so much. Every little bit counts. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Awesome. Great. So, Kolita Okada says, Kamala has joy that you have no freedom. Well done. Oh, so good. Kolita, so good. Kamala has joy when you have no freedom. She is about joy and freedom the whole time. You know what? They weren't lying. They were telling the truth. That's absolutely true. I love that. So good. I love that. Yes. Kolita also goes on, did you like the way Obama couldn't even say independent or libertarian? Of course not. Those people are evil. So you can't talk about those people. Absolutely. Oh my God. Yes. All right. Let's see if I can grab a couple more of these. Raza says, I want to be around people who are the real thing. Thank you for being you. Oh, thank you. I do try very hard to just let people know what's up. And sometimes, to be forward, I don't always agree with everybody out there. I know that. But I try to be honest to the best of my ability. And when people say things, I take negative comments. Call me names, I'll take it. I will take whatever. If I say, ask me anything, I will, yes, I'll take the negative comment. Doesn't matter. Ryan, thank you being a member here. Kamala's so awesome. She has nothing to run on. She doesn't need it, Ryan. She doesn't need it. When you're as amazing as her, do you really need stupid things like policies and such? I mean, if you heard what they were talking about her, oh my God. I mean, she's always there to help. She's always there to lead. Where was she in 2020? How come you people weren't jumping around for her in 2020? All she ever does is support the people who are in trouble. And if you notice, everything wasn't about making things different. It was about giving more money away. One of the biggest words used in the entire DNC was the word deserve. Everyone deserves everything. I like that. I like that. You guys better give me all your money because I deserve everything. Kamala said so. Harris has told me this. Our empress has deemed it so. Therefore, it is true. Major Williams, how are you, sir? She's not a great speaker, especially freestyling. Yes. Off the cuff, she's terrible. She has become much better, literally reading off the prompter. She's way better. So, yeah, that's absolutely true. She's way better at that. I've been practicing. And to be forward, to give her credit, it's paid off. She is much better off the teleprompter than she's ever been. So whatever practice she's been doing, 100% good. That's absolutely true. But you're right. If she is off, she starts laughing. Remember, she's accustomed to being a prosecutor. Prosecutors almost always have judges who love them, get advantages of everything, prep all they can, yell and scream all day long, and juries tend to believe them. Well, now all of a sudden you're in front of people who may not think that. A lot harder. So yes. Michael says, good analysis on Harris interviewing. Yeah, thank you. I think look, I prep people to interview. That's what I do. And you see me doing this all the time. I literally do I do interviews all the time. They're all off the cuff. You guys like my one this morning? That's just me talking. You like the one I do? I'm not prepping. Like I don't have a sheet of paper I'm reading off of. You can see me. I'm right there. I do those things live. Sometimes I do them in studio, live. They just throw stuff at me and I go, okay, here we go. So the best way to become better off the cuff is to do stuff off the cuff. One of the reasons I talked about the way to make things happen is what you want to do is you want to do this a lot. This is one of the reasons why I do all of these shows. Every show you see I do, it's always live, right? It's live with people coming in live. I've done, this is my 400 and some odd Sharpe Way show. I do other shows too, right? I do my Libertarian Coffee Live, my radio show, which is done live also every Tuesday. I do my Sharpe Club every Monday at 9. I've done events across New York State. I go to at least 60, 70 events every single year, live events in New York State every year for the past 6 years. You add that up, that's 1,500 events, give or take. I'm in that area. All of them live, all of them no notes. I've been in debate stage several times, live, no notes. I do MC work. You guys see me. I'm a moderator at debates. I do this all live. Just right on, you can see it all live. I became good at this, not because I'm somehow magically good like Harris. I mean, I don't have that. I'm not royalty, so I don't have that magical power. I just practice so much. I do it so often, I get good at it. If you spend more time doing this, you'll get better at it. That's how it works. So that's why I'm saying they are drilling her every single day. It's the only way to make her better. There's no other way, right? So that's why I know what they're doing, because I've done it myself to others and myself to make them better. Practice is the only way you feel comfortable. Practice is the only way you be able to speak better. Practice is the only way you can. In my case, one of my biggest issues is I speak too damn fast. I'm a New Yorker. I speak so fast all the time. That's what I do. So I've got to slow myself down so that I don't speak so quickly. Or you'll hear me often repeat what I just said because I recognize I so fast. I'll then go back and say it again. So that's one of my issues I work on still to this day. And I've been doing this 18 years. I don't know how long I've been speaking publicly. A long time. And still I have to go back and do it again and again. So yes, that's the only reason why I know. Pick a bell. Thank you. YouTube member. So good. Thank you guys. I appreciate all the help. Every bit counts. We keep going. So, Major, yes, keep up the fight. I am trying, my friend. I am trying, my friend. He says, are you jealous? Maybe you are. I don't know. Does it look like I'm in any way, shape, or form bothered? I'm not bothered. Say whatever you want. I'm not bothered at all. It's clear that I'm not bothered. I don't care. Not bothered any bit. So Andrew says, sorry, I'm late, Governor Sharpe. Love the AMAs. Now, history-related question coming your way. Thoughts on Teddy Roosevelt, his character or policies? I always try to, whenever I'm talking about historical figures, I always try my best to judge them against their contemporaries, right? That's my goal. Judge them against contemporaries. To judge them against modern day is unfair, right? Terrible. Right? Doesn't work, unfair, and makes everyone else feel bad. It's a way to virtue signal, right? If I say things, people have asked me before, like, who's your favorite president? And I will almost always say, it's George Washington. And they say, why? He did this, or he did that, or he was a slave owner. I said, no. I'll tell you the reason why. Because he stepped down from power voluntarily in the 18th century. That was unheard of in the 18th century. None of his peers in the world would have done that. Most of the countries of the world still had kings and queens. For him to do that was amazing. I judge him by his peers. But Larry, he was a slave owner. So were a bunch of his peers. Again, I'm not saying slavery is good. Please, again, well, now you're saying that I'm not. Stop that stupidity. That's insanely stupid stuff. Don't say that. You know I don't believe that. But you'll say that to virtue signal. I'm more virtuous than you. You love slavery, or whatever you're going to say. Silly, but people do it. My point is, I judge him by his peers. When you look at Teddy Roosevelt's peer group, he was an exceptional person, exceptionally smart, exceptionally brave, both personally and morally. So I do think he was a great man in that regard, if that makes any sense, right? When it comes to character, judging him compared to his peer group, I think very good. Someone who had both personal courage and moral courage, and the ability to just go forward and do things, right? And also someone who looked to the future. Some people don't like the way he set up a lot of the federal lands. But again, think about his peer group. He was thinking about the future. Again, you may disagree with that. I'm not saying that that was right or wrong. What I'm saying is I would still see that as valuable, a person who thinks about the future. The guy, the old saying, who plants a tree that he knows he will never be able to, enjoy the shade of. So yes, again, relative to his peer group, I think a good man. Hope that answered your question. So, all right. Let's see here. Joanna says, I'm so grateful to hear you explain this strategy. Yeah, I'm happy to go through it at any time. Look, again, this is what I do. I'm happy to deal with that. So yes. John says, how can Chase Oliver get on the mainstream media radar? He has to raise more money. I know people don't like that, and I don't like it either. I want to be clear. I'm not saying this is right or good. I'm saying it's true. People judge you by how much money you raise when you are a candidate. And I would tell people when I ask them about candidacies, and I give them advice, I say, you got to raise money. And here's the weird part. It doesn't matter how much money you spend to raise it. They only look at the amount raised. Now, if you're a businessman, John, I know your background. If you're a businessman, this will drive you crazy. If you're a businessman, profit margin matters tremendously, right? I don't want to spend $999,000 to make $1 million, right? I want to spend like $500,000 to make $1 million. Not if you're in politics. If you spend $99,000 to raise $100,000, all they report is you raised $100,000. You only have $1,000 in the bank, but they're going to say he raised $100,000. Oh my God. I'm not joking. I know that makes no sense to anyone in business at all. It makes no sense, but it doesn't matter. Most of politics, as you can see already, is not based upon reality. It's based upon image. So if you raise X dollars, people will see you as valuable. I know that seems unfair. It is unfair, and it's true. So number one thing, raise more money so you can be seen as a real person. One of the reasons why Gary Johnson gotten so much press was because he raised over $10 million. And for a third party, that's a lot of money. Why did I get on Joe Rogan? Why did I get on Glenn Beck? Why did I get on all those shows I got on? Because I raised $500,000 running for a governor of a state as a libertarian. Unheard of. That was the most anyone had raised as a libertarian in New York State. It wasn't even close, right? The guy before, the last 3 governor candidates combined didn't break $15,000. Let me repeat that. The last 3 governor candidates in New York State before me combined didn't raise $15,000. I raised $500,000. I got on the radar. Again, Larry, it sucks. Yes, and true. I'm just being forward with you. Ask me this question, I'll tell you. The second piece is, if you want to get a mainstream radar, you have to buy ads. It's pay to play. Yes, you got to buy ads. So if you buy ads, they go, oh, the guy's buying ads. Oh, okay, we got to interview him now. I'm not joking. It's literally pay to play. The third way you do it is you get in the polls. Polling is a big deal. You have to be in polls, right? What I told people, again, I'm going to go back to it again. Lars Mapstead was in 13 polls before he got to the convention. Gary Johnson was only in 3 total. And you guys went, nah, we don't want him. Polling. Larry, how do you get in the polls? One of 2 ways. One, you become the guy who raised the money. Lars was raising the most money. Literally what I said got him into polls. And Lars could afford to buy polls. Both of them were true. What I just said, you want to be in a poll? Buy a poll. I found this out. Some of you don't know this, but when you want to be in polls, I called them up in 2018. I'm raising money. I'm doing all this stuff. And I said, why am I not in a poll? And they were very open. Oh, you can buy the poll. I said, what? I said, buy the poll. So if I buy the poll, I'm in a poll. Yes. Buy the poll, you're in a poll. People go, wait a minute. No, these colleges put up polls. Yes, people buy the poll. Usually it's some kind of PAC organization. They buy the poll. They do. It's the norm, right? And these people, these polling organizations aren't charities. Someone has to pay for it. So they buy the poll. They're in a poll. What's a poll cost? Anywhere between $40,000 and $50,000. Got to raise money. Got to raise money. You can't raise money. You can't play this game. And again, I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's true. If you can't raise money, you cannot play this game. That's how the game is played. I wish it was not true. It just is. This is the reason why they care about RFK Jr., because he raised tens of millions of dollars. That's why he was able to play in this game. That's the reason, right? Why is he up here and all the rest someplace else? Because he raises more than all of them combined. I know it sucks. I'm telling you the truth. You asked, I gave you an honest answer. Now, there is another grassroots way that also takes money and volunteers, and that can't be done on a national level. It's what I did in 2018 originally. I went to smaller areas where there's no real press, things really happening. Smaller areas, invited local press to show up. A bunch of local press would show up. And for those who don't know how this works, local, if you ever run locally, meaning in a state or in a district, whatever the case may be, most local media has been destroyed. There's maybe like one person who writes for like 3 different papers in local papers, right? And very few people read local papers. But if you read a local paper, here's the issue. You vote. You can guarantee if you read a local paper, you vote. So for those of you who are running for office or trying to help a candidate, spend some time getting them into a place where not much is happening. Like I live in New York City, but I didn't go to New York City hardly at all. Why? Something's happening every day in New York City. So I'd go to a small town, invite the local paper to show up. They would. That person probably writes for 3 different papers. That story and a picture goes to different local papers. All right, fine. Keep doing that. I've done it for months. Local paper. Eventually, the city that's nearby, whether it's Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, would have a slow news day. I'm not joking. They have a slow news day. And they look around and go, oh, the local papers, let's get some stuff out of there. Because what almost all reporters are is two things: lazy and entitled. Almost all of them are. There's some exceptions, but most just lazy and entitled. So, oh, here's someone who did all the work for me already. I can take this and then put it in my paper. Happen all the time. So then all the local papers would then wind up getting me into a larger paper. Then that would sometimes transfer over into TV. So I did get TV because of that. Local TV. So it does work like that if you're running locally. That can't be done at a national level. Not realistic. I don't know how it could be done in that case. So hope that was at least answer your question at least. Probably wasn't a good answer, but wanted to be clear. All righty. Ref Tom Green says, well, I'm not ignoring RFK Jr., brainworm, anti-vax, bear dumping park, smear campaign. True. Again, the goal always in this case, particularly if you're the top two, right? You're a Democrat, Republican. The goal is what I call the one-word story, but in this case, it could be two stories. You give them a word that dismisses them. Now you don't listen at all. It shuts them up, right? So he is a kook. She is an ist or a phobe. Insert ist or insert phobe. One of those two things. Oh, so now I can't talk to him anymore. Why listen there? Why was listening to him? He's a this. You guys saw that if you were watching the stream from 2 days ago? Guy said, you can't talk to him. He's an addict. So now you can't listen to him anymore? Now he's wrong no matter what? The one-word story is a way of making you not listen to him. It discredits them, and that's the way they do it. That's why they don't have to worry at all about talking about this. You don't talk about it at all. We don't have to have issues. Why do you have issues? Because this guy's an ist and that guy's a phobe. So I don't have to have issues. I'm not an ist. I'm not a phobe. You're not going to vote for an ist, are you? Come on, Tom Green. You're not going to vote for an ist because that would make you an ist. You're going to vote for a phobe. Are you a phobe? I'm not an ist or a phobe. So I know my policy is going to put you in jail, but at least it won't be an ist or a phobe. You can virtue signal from prison. And then he'd be right? Kamala Harris will have joy when you have no freedom. Khalidi will be right. See, everybody wins, Tom. You get to virtue signal from jail, and Harris gets to have joy when you have no freedom. Everybody wins. I don't know why we're complaining about this. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Yes. Pickerbell says, Larry, they are rich guys picking their wealth. That's their politics. Correct. Accurate statement. I wish you were wrong. You are not. You are correct. John says, please run against AOC. No, it's not going to work. It is a colossal waste of time. So you know where I live. Why am I in a bunker? Where I live, the Democratic Party runs everything where I live. It's 6-1 Democrat Republican in New York City. In my district, the city council person, the state assemblyman, and the congressperson are all not only Democrats, but members of the DSA, Democratic Socialists of America. Yes. And my district is so blue that when it came to the state level, they have not run, Republican Party has not run a candidate in 10 years. They don't even bother running a candidate anymore. Why bother? If you call the Republican headquarters here where I live in Queens, it's like somebody's deli. I'm not joking. It's like, hey, Joey's Deli. Yeah, oh, Republican. Yeah, that's me. I'm the chairperson. What's going on? That's what it is like. There's not even a place. It's that bad. So me trying to run against that entrenchment it would just waste everybody's time, money, and energy. That's it. I appreciate the idea, but I don't want to do things that don't make impact, right? I will virtue signal. I tease about virtue signaling, but I virtue signal myself. I do it too when there's nothing else, right? If I can't make impact, I will virtue signal, right? So I can't run against AOC, so I'll vote against her. She's going to win, but I will virtue signal, vote against her. I'll vote for whoever. I'll write somebody in. I'll put my own name in. I will virtue signal against her because I can't make impact. But if I thought I could make impact, I would absolutely do that. I would run whatever, back somebody else, whatever the case may be. Of course I would. So, yes. All righty. Tyler says, I'm a fellow New Yorker voting RFK Jr. Oh, great. Good. There we go. We need as many as we can. As many as we can. Yes. All righty. Michael says, LP Ohio managed to retain ballot access line for the party. Chase Oliver's campaign needs to concentrate his resources he can at least hold some ground. He spent a lot of time in Ohio this week. Good for him. I hope so. I do not have him on my campaign at all. I mean, on my state at all. He won't be on my ballot. He won't be. Sad CD says, why are my comments being deleted? Okay. This is YouTube. Anytime you bring up RFK Jr. on YouTube and sometimes even Twitter, but always on YouTube, just bringing up RFK, you get flagged. Which is why I keep telling you, please click the like button. Please share this because you immediately get flagged. I'm not joking. You will get my videos. I do have RFK on it. Will have nothing to do with the virus or the sticky. Nothing to do with it at all. Nothing. If I just bring up RFK Jr., I will often get a warning. Warning, COVID, blah, 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 guaranteed. So this is my point I made up earlier. Why can't you get in what can happen with CNN? They'll make a deal with Google, which Google, of course, owns YouTube. So yes. So that's why they'll just go through and go, oh, that's a bad one because that guy I told you about, Mr. Al Gore Rhythm, Mr. Rhythm, he goes through. And when he sees things he doesn't like, he just pulls them out. I'm not making that up. Just pulls it out. I don't like that one. Pulls it out. So I try to make Mr. Rhythm as happy as I can. I have to satisfy him. So I hope that answers your question. So yes. All righty. I know that's not a good. I'm giving you guys some bad answers. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to be very clear. Rory says, a lot of people say disappointed RFK dropped out. I am too. I didn't want him to suspend. He didn't drop out. He suspended. I want him to just go full bore. Right? I didn't want him to stop. I did not want him to. But they don't do whatever I tell them to do. I wish they would, but they don't. I wanted him to just keep going. I didn't want him to endorse Trump. I didn't want him to. I wanted him to just keep going. That's what I wanted. I was clear on what I wanted. But I just was realistic. If you remember, I did 2 shows. One on why I thought he should not endorse Trump and back out. And the second on, okay, if he's gonna, here's what he has to do. Here's the odds are. And I was right. What I said in that video about what he would do if he does it was correct. So yes, it was correct. But I'm with you. I didn't want him to do it either. But this is where we are. We've got to move forward, right? The movement was always about more than just him being the president anyway. So as long as we can still get the other things, I think we can still work and make some impact here. So yes. Rory says he wasn't doing much in the polls. Where were they then? They were there. Here's the problem. Again, let me go back to polls. In the polls that the campaign was doing, he was doing well. That's where he was able to get up to 18, 19%. In the polls that other people were doing, he wasn't. Here's why. It's a poll trick you guys might learn. There are 3 different ways you can do polls that make this bad. One of them is obvious and 2 aren't obvious. Here's the obvious one. You literally don't put him in the poll. Tough for him to do well. You allow for an other. And then if someone happens to see other or undecided, and then in the phone, the voiceover is called VOL, voice out loud. That's what it's called in the business, VOL, voice out loud. They say, I don't want Harris or Trump. Why not Bobby Kennedy Jr.? They will count that. Okay, the person actually said the name. They'll count that. And you might think, that's good, Larry. That's bad. Because everyone else who would go other, but was thinking Bobby Kennedy Jr., didn't say it. If you don't say it, it doesn't count. That's why it's called VOL. You'll see if you look at the bottom of the polls, you often see that. It'll say VOL or voice out loud. It'll say that in the bottom of the poll. And they do it on purpose. That's purposeful. Not in the poll period or voice out loud, which is only when they say it. So if you're thinking, these guys suck, I don't want either, they put undecided. But if you openly say it, think about all the undecideds that were thinking Bobby Kennedy Jr. Or the reverse, someone who just wants to follow the rules. They may say, well, I don't want that. I want somebody else. Well, that's what you have. The question is, if it's held today and only those people. And that's the question. The question says, if the election was held today and these 2 are the only selections, that's the question asked. Most people answer that question. Oh, well, if I only got those 2, I don't have Bobby Kennedy Jr.? They go, no, not on the list. Oh, then I'd vote for so-and-so. So when you make the poll that way, of course, that's why polls can be so drastically different. You can also make it to where there is no other option, where it's just Harris, Trump, RFK, and no one decided. And that actually pumps up RFK's numbers because people just go, I hate those 2. I guess RFK, when they might have voted for somebody else. So you could also do that too. Another way you can do it is you first start with the two, and then afterwards add others in a second or third question. And you can even add a question in between, which is called a push poll, to say negative things. So you could ask a question like, I'm not making this up, would you pick, Trump or Harris or undecided, whatever? And you answer the question. Next question is, are you afraid that someone who would not like the jab would somehow affect blah, blah, blah? So you see some negative about some policy that Bobby has. And they go, yeah, I wouldn't like that. Then you put down the second question. By the way, if he was in, what would you do? They're going to stick what they said before. Hardly any are going to go to that. So I know I go long on these sometimes, guys, but this is how the system actually works. The average person does not know this. They think it's just a fair poll. No. Do you know who writes the poll? The person who buys it. Yeah, they decide. So if I'm some, left-wing pack or right-wing pack, I write a poll to make sure that my guy or gal looks good. Why didn't they say these are biased pollsters? No, just guys who let certain people buy. Yeah, absolutely, of course. So I think I hope that answers your question there too. I'm sorry, guys. If I go too long, let me know. But I'm trying to give you actual answers and stuff and for some of you, you've never heard of this before because people don't talk about this. This is how this is the details of the actual system. So Jess says, I have been heartbroken, huge supporter of Bobby for 15 months. I'm still voting for him. I don't live in a swing state. Never felt so thankful for that. And if you remember, I mentioned that piece, right? I think you can still vote and the 5% still matters. And why would that matter? If we get the 5% and we fight for an independent party, there's still an option for the future. Either for him, for Nicole Shanahan, for whomever might want to run in the third party in their state, anybody. So yes, absolutely. So Lila says, RFK Jun might still have a life of its own with votes going in. That's possible too, right? It's one of the reasons why you see me still in the press. I haven't given up on it yet. I haven't. I'm still going. I hope more will follow me. If we keep going, we still get the votes. And the best part is there's still a chance, low that it is, there's still a chance that one of these guys will make a massive mistake, screw up terribly, and open the door for Bobby to get a huge chunk. It is still possible. Is there a chance at Canadian election? Maybe. But to your point, Leela, something crazy has to happen. If something crazy happens, yes. Otherwise, yeah. Cable equals boomer box. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yes. Ryan says, CNN's race to the White House was very well done. Thank you, Ryan. See, that's my point. CNN does that well. That's a thing that CNN does well. They make good documentaries. They have a skill set from it. They have a culture from it for years of investigation. They actually make good documentaries. And if you make them, you can just sell them to others, right? So other channels want them, other countries might want it, other streaming services might want them, and you can just make documentaries for people. I think it's a great business plan. If I was a CNN guy, that's what I would do. So, drop this. Let MSNBC be left. Let Fox be right. CNN's never going to be able to do anything worth it. The reason why I hate CNN is not because they lean left. That's not it. It's because they pretend they don't. It is the snobbishness of CNN that I just cannot stand. I hate it. Fox says, we're on the right. MSNBC says, we're on the left. Good. I got it. I'm clear. I'm not mad at you. I got it. Now I know I can watch both of them, get the sides. I'm good. CNN's like, we're straight news. All Republicans are evil. Wait a minute. I thought you were straight news. Harris is a goddess. What? Wait a minute. I thought you were straight news. Yeah, stop with that's why I can't stand CNN. Because of that. Be a documentary channel and move on. Make your money much better. So, the anti-corporatist off of Twitch. Wow, we got Twitch people watching. Thank you so much. For those of you who don't know, this gets streamed live on 8 different channels. Rumble, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, a bunch, 8. CNN, like Fox, gets a lot of their funding from network interchange fees. Yes. And all that big pharma and for some reason, defense contractor commercials. Yes. The reason why defense, this is the thing that most people don't know. There's a reason why certain companies will buy ads on shows when no one can buy anything, right? And I remember I first got this back in the early 2000s when I was watching some Sunday morning, news show, CNN, Fox, wherever it was. I forgot what it was. And the company that was advertising was a company called Kerr McGee. Kerr McGee, at that time, I don't know what they make now, but at that time, what they made, I'm not joking, was offshore oil rigs. And they were advertising offshore oil rigs. What person is watching CNN going, oh, I need a new offshore oil rig. Oh my God, you're right. Hey, Johnny, call these people up. We got to buy it. No one does that. So why would Kerr McGee, when no one's buying offshore oil rigs off of CNN, oil, buy today, you'll get 2, free shipping. That's not going to happen, right, for an oil rig. So why? So they can control the narrative, right? If I'm your big customer, I control the narrative. So military industrial complex will buy tons of ads to ensure they can't attack the military industrial complex. If the news channel attacks that, they will pull their advertising. The more advertising they do, the more they become reliant upon that advertiser. So now all of a sudden they want to do something saying, and these wars over here are terrible. And they go, shut up. What are you saying? We're making cash. You see me doing the commercials. You better tell that anchor and that anti-war stuff. And if they don't do it, they're going to pull their ads. And when you're struggling like CNN, whatever your advertisers say, you do. That's why pharma too. How you do an expose on big pharma when you're going to lose literally billions of dollars in ad revenue? You're not saying nothing about pharma. Quiet as a mouse. Nothing. You're not saying nothing about pharma. Not a thing. Why do you think Michelle Obama stopped talking about food and started talking about exercise all of a sudden? When she came up, she was talking about food. You think Michelle Obama doesn't eat exactly all the food that Bobby Kennedy Jr. tells her to eat? She eats all of that only. I can guarantee, I would bet any amount of money. Michelle Obama does not eat processed food, none of that stuff. Everything Bobby Kennedy talks about, I am sure Michelle Obama eats all of that. And she was going to tell all the kids, eat all of that. And then all the donors said, you're not going to say that. Shh. Get them running around, whatever. Tell them to run. Do that. And she went, oh, we're going to lose. Yeah, you're going to lose all your donors. She went, okay. Remember that food thing? Shh. Let's just run. We'll do that instead. Eat the bad food. Don't eat the bad food. Just run a lot. That's what she did. I wish I was making this up. That's true if you watched it. This is the reason why. Defense contractors, pharma, big food, they want to control the narrative, and it works. This is why it doesn't work online, right? You will find so many corporate, or I should say independent news outlets who don't take that kind of advertising. Well, then they're not beholden to the advertisers. So if I want to go on a rant about the MIC, I can. The problem is I'll get shut down on YouTube. So I have to go to Rumble, which is why I also go on Rumble, which is why I'm also on Twitter, which is why, if you notice, I have 2. I have a Larry Sharpe and I also have a Sharpe Way. My main one's always Larry Sharpe. But if I might get trashed. So I got to go someplace else. So I have other places to go because I am worried about being shut down. I'm worried about being censored. So that's why I have multiple channels to go someplace else. So the anti-corporatist, I hope I answered your question. That is the reason why. Lila says, preach. I am trying to. Yes. Thank you. Yes. All righty. So many of these. I'm trying to get as many as I can. Pick up George Santos. Thank you. Yes, George Santos was the guy. That was the guy that guy doesn't give about anything. That guy just wants to be back in power. He will do anything. Yes. Sarah says, can Bobby implement his rehabilitation farms if he's also doing chronic disease? Trump could take credit and Bobby could work on his opus. The issue to remember is there are 2 separate justice systems. What Bobby will be doing would only be at the federal level, not the state level. And I think his system would work best, to tell you the truth, at a state level. For his system to work, what we'd have to do is get a governor to accept it and implement at a state level. Because the state level has much more regular crimes. A lot of the crimes that the federal government puts together, it's not real crimes. They're not crimes. They're like, I don't know, you bought something on the internet we don't like. It's that kind of stuff. Or even the FBI makes up crimes all the time. I mean, just makes up stuff constantly. So I don't know. So I guess he could, but that's really, in my view, something more for the state. If he could implement it or back it, even with a pilot program in a small state or small area, that is what I think it could work best. If I was advising Bobby, I would tell him, get some of the budget that you have from whatever agency you're running in, shut down some worthless program, take that cash, supplement a state program with your personal oversight with that, so that the local people don't screw it up, right? Get success out of it and then move from there. That would be my advice if he was asking me. I would say take the federal funds, that dump some programs not working, tons of them aren't. Take that money, do a program, back up a program at a state level, watch that work. His program, you would see a difference in a year. How do I know that? It was a program in Massachusetts called the Humvee program. That program it helped veterans. It basically created like a semi kind of halfway house with veteran volunteers and corrections officers who could pick the right people to come in. That went recidivism rate in that group. At that time, this was probably 2017, 2016, I think. In that time, the recidivism rate in Massachusetts was about 75% in that area. Recidivism rate coming back. For that, it was less than 5%. That is a massive change. And of course, it was adopted across the entire state. And of course, outside of it was not adopted because now we have pay-to-play prisons. So who wants to do that? So that's what Bobby should do. Copy that model that worked in Massachusetts. Copy that in some other state. I think that's the answer. At that point, you then take it across the entire country. That would be my view on that, sir. I hope I answered your question. Yeah. You guys all put down Santos. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Alexis, it's a pleasure. I can listen to your rants all day. Thank you. I kind of have been. Okay, there we go. Good. I love that. This is why I do long form, right? So people can actually hear it, understand it, ask questions. I can spend, time and energy in that. Yes. Pickerball says, JD Vance seems like he just wants to be in charge type. Maybe. And I say that because often people who haven't been in charge desperately want to be in charge. And if his story from his book is true, that may be. I think that could be true, right? That could be true. People who are often in charge don't care about power because they've already had it. So it's good, right? But again, something else to remember, though. If you're going to be in politics and run for office, again, this is something that people often don't like, but it's still true. You have to have an ego. You can't put up with all the attacks and everything and push forward through all this stuff if you don't have an ego. I have one too. The difference is I recognize that I have it, so I provide other ways, like shows that have my name on it, things like that, so I can pump my ego that way and not attack and be mean to people outside that I'm talking to and have actual conversations and chat with people, right? So you find other ways of doing it. Some people don't, and they stop becoming jerks. So I try my best to not be a jerk, and I try to find other ways to feed my ego, because I think anyone who does this has to have one. It's how it works. If you didn't, you wouldn't do this. The average person doesn't do this. The average person doesn't want to run for office. In fact, most people who run for office run one time, quit, never go again, because it is brutal. I'm the idiot who keeps going. But yes, there we go. Ryan, he says, Marjorie Taylor Greene needs a course in etiquette. And don't even get me started on Lauren Boebert. Yes, but it works for them, right? I'm not saying you're wrong, but it works for them. So why would they change that, right? It works for them. People tend to do what works for them. Generally speaking, not 100% rule, but it's a good general rule. People communicate with you the way you train them to. So if my current way, if yelling at you works, Ryan, I'm going to keep yelling at you. If I yell at you, you tell me to go take a hike and you don't do what I want, I'm going to stop yelling at you, right? I'm going to communicate with you the way you train me to. If I ask you nicely and you do it, I'm going to keep asking nicely. If I just talk normal and you do it, I'm going to talk normal, right? I'm going to do how you train me, right? If you're saying yes in whatever way I'm talking to you, I'm going to copy that. Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Greene have been aggressive and they're winning. Why would they change? I don't mean to be mean. Again, a lot of times people think that I'm saying things are right. I'm saying how they are. If that works for them, why would they change? Again, if I yell at you and you go, oh, yes, Larry, yes, oh, yes, I'm going to keep yelling at you. Why wouldn't I? You're doing what I say every time I yell at you. If you say, Larry, go take a hike. Get out of here. You yell at me like that? Take a hike. I'm going to stop. I'm going to do the thing that gets me what I want. They want power. That works. They're not going to stop. Why would they? Why would they? Absolutely. Let's see here. The anti-corporatist, Larry, they're called political promises for a reason. Yes. I don't care what he says or does. Yes. I agree. Yes. That's the point I bring up always. This is the mob. There are absolutely there's no rules. The people who enforce the rules are the people who are talking about that. Yes, that's what it is. Yes. So let's see here. Let's see. Just Me says, how do you feel about the judges deciding Bobby's New York appeal? I love listening to you. If not for you helping me feel better about what Bobby did, I would be depressed now. Oh, okay, there we go. Now I'm disappointed. Okay, well, maybe we can fix this. A general rule, what you see when it comes to these things, it's going to sound bad too. Again, sometimes I feel like I give you guys bad news. But again, if you understand it, you can work around it. That makes any sense. If you get it, you can, okay, that's why that works. You don't feel as helpless if you get how it works and know you can get around it. Generally speaking, judges at the lower courts don't care at all about the Constitution or your rights or even the people around them. They don't care. What they care about is the current political system, generally their parties. Why? That's how they're put into place. They're either elected through a political party or selected through political appointments. It's all political. They're not selected or elected because they're good judges. Think about that. That's not why they're put into place. They're not put into place because they're good judges. There's literally no way of judging a judge. They won't let you. When I was running in New York State, I said we had to create a Yelp system for judges. And I was not joking, because judges do whatever they want, however they want, does not matter. And if you say how bad they are in person, they threaten you. I mean, it's terrible. And there's no repercussions. They can be terrible judges. The judge in New York State a couple months ago, in the case of Dexter Taylor, literally said that the Bill of Rights does not exist in her courtroom. She said the Second Amendment does not exist in this courtroom. Told the jurors that. No repercussions. None. You can be a judge in a state court and say the Bill of Rights does not exist on the record. You can go check that out if you want to. The guy who she put away was named Dexter Taylor. You can check it out. She said that. That's on the record. She said it. No repercussions. Not getting impeached, not getting removed, not getting yelled at, probably getting promoted. Yes. So does not matter. So why would I say that? So when all of a sudden someone comes for a ballot, to get a ballot, and it might hurt the ruling party, which is Bobby Kennedy Jr., there's no way they're letting them on. No, they don't care if it makes sense, doesn't make, they're not letting them on. If they let them on, their career is over. Doesn't matter what the argument is, does not matter. The first thing I said, if you remember, I said he would probably lose. Why? The second the judge was listening to the Democratic National Committee, their argument's garbage, utter, total garbage. I already told people why it's bad. I've done many interviews on it. It's a terrible argument, makes no sense whatsoever. It's disgusting. Even the Hill said how bad it is. Like, they're all saying it's a terrible argument. The argument DNC makes is a garbage argument. That judge was like, nope, no. Of course, if that judge says yes, that judge's career is over. And she knows that. She's never letting them on. So why do I think they win an appeal? Because as you get in appellate courts, those are higher courts. When the judges are higher in the courts, at that point, they don't care about the political party anymore, because either they're going as high as they're going to go, they're not getting promoted again, they're not getting elected, they don't care anymore, right? Or they gain their own political power within their group, they're immune from the outsiders because they've created their own kingdom. Either one. At that point, they actually care about the law. I'm not joking. It's why usually the Supreme Court is better. Not always, but it usually is. Because once you're in the Supreme Court, you're untouchable. But by the system. So you care about the actual Constitution, you care about the law, you care about rights, right? That happens. So the higher a judge gets in a state, the more chance they care about rights in the Constitution. Lower judges, that's why they always have all these appellate courts, because they know it too. The lower court judges, their job is to go, yes, whatever the party says, yes, that's it. That's all they do. As you get higher, they become powerful, they'll do it. So my gut says that later on, as you get higher in the court system, the judges will actually care about the Constitution, care about rights, and go, oh, wait a minute, yeah, this is garbage. That is why I think he'll actually win in an appeal. And this is the next piece. They know that too. So why would you do it? Because it's expensive. I'll tell you something to do in New York State. This will explain the way they nickel and dime you to death. When I did my appeal, why I ran out of money, I dropped $400,000 appealing in New York State 8 times. Lost every one of them. Supreme Court would not see my case. One of the things they do is they force you to nickel and dime you. So they say every single document that you have from your first court case, everyone through every appeal, you must photocopy and give to the bench. I'm not joking. You must do that. Photocopy every document and give it to the bench. Why? Why? They're all on record. They're all there. Why would you do that? Because it's expensive. I dropped thousands of dollars making photocopies. And if you don't make photocopies of everything, then you miss the rule. So technicality, your case thrown out. Why would I have to make so many copies? Because it was literally ballot access. I had thousands of sheets of paper with signatures on them. They were by petitions. They made me photocopy every petition, even though the board of elections had them already. It was technicality. You must do it. Thousands of dollars on photocopying. If you don't have the money, you lose. The people against me were the Republican Party and the Board of Elections. Unlimited money. Unlimited money against me getting donors to give me money so I can make photocopies. Please, just me, can I have $7,000 so I can make photocopies? Yes. For a case I might still lose. So I hope that answers your question. So yes. Okay. Let's see here. Pixel Moon Beamer, how are you? Hey, Larry, they're saying that they're letting RFK on polls now since Uniparty announced it. What's up with that? Okay. Who's they? Remember I talked about this? It's not they. It's who buys the poll. Remember that. It's who buys the poll. So why would you want RFK Jr. on a poll now? If you were a Republican pollster, if you were a Republican PAC, if you were a right-leaning PAC, you'd want him on the polls in all those states so that you can get those people voting for him. This is brilliant. This will help us. This will help us. Again, you thought I was making that up. You just proved my point. Well, now he's valuable for Republicans. He wasn't valuable before. Don't put him in the polls. Well, now he's valuable. Put him in the polls. I'm paying for it. I'm some Republican shill. I'm paying for it. Done deal. Put him in the polls. That's how that actually works. Again, Mari's new member. Thank you, Mari. So much. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Every new member counts. Thank you so much. So yeah, that's why that's happening. They put him in the polls. So yes. All righty. See if I can grab here. Grace says, did you see where Nancy Pelosi threw shade at Queen Kathy? Yes. Yes. To be forward, actually, it kind of wasn't her fault. For those of you who Republicans in New York State will say this, they'll say, look, what happened in New York, you got to give, the Lee Zeldin credit because we won all those House seats. That's not what happened. That's a story to tell you. Here's what happened in New York State. New York State lost a congressional district. So we went from, I think, 27 to 26. I think that's right. 27 to 26, if I'm not mistaken. 27 to 26 or 26 to 25. I forgot which one. I think 27 to 26, if not mistaken. Well, when that happened, the Democrats got greedy. And they said, oh, we have a bulletproof majority here in New York State, and we can just rewrite the district any way we want. So they literally redistricted out a bunch of Republicans. It was so blatantly obvious. They were like, nope, you're gone, you're gone. So they redistricted out a bunch of Republicans. So if there was going to be like, whatever, out of 2060, said there were going to be, I don't know, 5 that were Republican, maybe 7 were going to be Republican. I think 7, whatever it was, that number. It's a few. They're like, no, you get 2. They just totally did it. It was so bad that a judge was like, dude, I just can't. Again, they won their first appeal because they always do. Again, as always, it was an appeal. As I'm just telling you, the same thing I told you about happened. That again, if you think I'm making it up, you can check it yourself. That actually happened. The Democrats won the first one because no judge who's at a lower level is going to go against the Democrats who run everything. So they were like, yes, Democrats, you're right. Then the second judge was like, dude. And the Republicans were hardcore throwing money at it. The Republicans were like, no, it's got to stop. Like, dude, this is garbage. We can't. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. We can't do this. So he threw them out. How do I know that? I was collecting signatures then. Why does it matter to me? Another way they screw you over when it comes to the system. When I was collecting signatures, there's one rule in election law which says you must have at least 500 signatures from every congressional district. Well, they threw everything out while I was collecting signatures. So there literally were no districts. They did not exist. You couldn't go back to the old ones because we had lost one. There were no districts when I was collecting my signatures. And a judge said, you have to have from 500. I said, there were none. I said that in court. There's none. I can't do it when there's none. Didn't care. Didn't follow the rules. But there's no districts. Like it was a task I physically could not do. Didn't care. Done. So yes, Anyway, I'm yapping away. So then they had to get an independent group to put together. That independent group screwed over the Democrats and changed everything over, and the Democrats were fighting each other, and that's how the Republicans got extra seats. It was the new group that came together and redistributed in a fairer way. It wasn't great, but it was a fairer, it was a better way. It was definitely better than what Democrats did. It was better. And that's what happened. Kathy Hochul was governor then. That was the problem. Nancy Pelosi says you should have stopped your people from being so greedy. And she's kind of right. She's kind of right. She probably should have stopped them from being like that. She probably should have. So yeah, that was an issue. I hope that was clear on why she was mad and why that worked. So yes. Yeah, so that covers that piece. I hope that was clear on that one. All right, Grace says, goes on to say, had Larry had $10 million in the last election, he'd be talking to us from the governor's mansion. There is no doubt that's true. No doubt. If I had $10 million, I'd be the governor now. 100%. No doubt. And they know that. That's why they went out of their way to crush me, because they knew that was going to happen. By the way, second piece, why they want to crush me. New York State now has matching funds. I'm always giving you guys inside baseball, right? This is inside baseball. Why do people think, why do some people at the top go, we need to have, federally funded elections? Well, the concept of that is actually not a bad concept in theory. But the idea is it'll be fairer. That is the concept behind it, which I like the idea of being fairer. I do. In practice, that's not how it works. How it works is they only give it to the two parties who have ballot access, and it basically is a jobs program for consultants. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a consultant. It's a jobs program for me. I'm coming clean. If they do that, it's a jobs program for me. Literally, the government's going to give me a job. Why? Because they're going to throw money at all these people running. And New York City matches 8-1. I'm not joking. Do your homework with me. I'm making this up. New York State matches 6-1. So if you raise $250,000 in New York City gives you $2 million. Your taxpayer dollars at work. I will work for one of those campaigns and they will pay me my fees. So it's a jobs program for me. And I'm against it because I have principles. Even though literally it's a job program for me, I'm like, don't do this. It's not a good idea. The same with New York State. It's 6-1. If you raise $500,000, they give you $3 million. I'm making this up. So now someone's going to run, hire me as a consultant. I get paid. It's a jobs program for me. Your taxpayer dollar going into my pocket. That's how this system works. And I go, well, Larry, can help out third parties. Yes, it can. It's true. In theory, it can. In theory, it can. But now you have to have a guy who can be a third party guy who can raise that kind of money. And in New York State, the only guy looking at it right now is me. No one else has ever done that like that. So I could take it. It could help me out. Absolutely, I could do it. But other people couldn't. It makes sure that if you're part of the system, you crush everybody else. That and of course, it's a jobs program for consultants. So yeah, that's what it's all about. And it's your taxpayer dollars. Now, the other one that's bad is the Supreme Court, the federal judges have already said political parties are private entities and they are not required in any way, shape, or form obligated to give us fair elections within their parties. And I get that. That makes sense. They are private organizations. I get that. But then they run our elections. But then they're controlling the ballot. But then we're paying for their primaries. Wait a minute. You can't say you're private and have no responsibility to us, but then you control our election cycle, you control the ballots, and we pay for your primary. That doesn't work. That's how it is now. Makes no sense. If you're going to say they are private organizations, I buy that. Okay. They cannot control the ballot, and we should not be paying for their primaries. And now we're paying for the entire election, in New York State at least. We're paying for the entire election. So your taxpayer dollars pays for an entire election. And here's the worst part. In New York State, we don't have open primaries. So the Democrats win in New York State all the time. So if you're not a part of the Democratic Party, you cannot vote in the primary. So I'm not a Democrat. I can't vote in the primary. I have no democracy. I can't vote for anybody. And now there's a Libertarian Party. I can't vote for anybody. Literally, I have to hope I get a good king or queen. I have no democracy. I have no say in my government. No say at the state level, city level, federal level. I have no say in my government at all. None. And you wonder why I'm jumping up and down and screaming about RFK Jr. I literally have no say in my government at any level. No say. Unless I become a Democrat, which I'm not. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not going to become one. So, not how it works. Not going to do it. So I have no say. And the best part, I get to pay for all of it. Isn't that great? I get to pay taxes to pay for all that stuff that I have no say in. Life is so awesome. There we go. Life is so awesome. So yeah. Phil says, Chase had an opportunity to go on Tim Pool's show. That's tens of thousands of free press. Podcasts are huge. I know, I've been on Tim Pool's twice. I think, 2 times already. Yeah, I've been on the show twice. You let me go on a show, I go. When anytime PR people go, hey, Larry, you free? Yes. Can you go on? Yes. I go on all kind of podcasts. If you look, I'm on all kind of podcasts all the time. You're right. I want my mug on everything, talking about what I think is important. I want people knowing what I think to the best of my ability. Yes. Pinkerball says it's not about having the money. It's about showing that you can get people to give you a lot of money. Yes, you've hit it perfectly. Pinkerbell, most people do not get that. Well done. Most people do not get that. It's exactly what it's about. Yes, 100%. Yes, absolutely. Let's see here. Grab some more of these. Rory says, I covered you when you came to Jamestown and was told it was the most read story of the week. There we go. Thank you. My exact point. Oh my God, you guys are literally, you're being so good to me. Thank you. Yes. Right. I talked about going to, for those who know, Jamestown is a town. It's a large town for Western New York. It's probably got 50,000 people, 100,000 people in that. No, probably 50,000 people in that town, give or take, probably 50. I'm going to guess in that area. It's in Chautauqua County, which is the actual most western county of New York State. It's right on the border of Pennsylvania and Lake Erie. So it's all the way to it's south of Buffalo. And I went to every county. I covered I go to every county every year in New York State. So I would go out to Jamestown. Sometimes there's a couple other places out there. Fredonia is out there. I'm trying to think of other places I've been there. I've been to Fredonia. I've been to Dunkirk, and I've been to Jamestown. So all 3 of them. So yeah, I head out there every year. I'll be out there somewhere. So yes, thank you. Exactly. People cover me when I go there because most people will not go there. I remember there are areas of North Country, which for those who know in New York State has low population compared to the rest of the state. I would go there and the mayor would show up because nobody goes there. There are few people. It's not worth the votes for them. So now some of those small districts, I must have pulled 25, 26% of the vote. Only guy who shows up. Exactly right. Showing up is something you can do. It does matter. Yes, showing up does matter. So yes. All right. Let's see here if I can grab more of these. D US all the way through says, what's your take on a Harris supporter stating that combining RFK Jr. and President Trump is lawfare and how to respond? Wow. For a Harris supporter to say that the Republicans and RFK Jr. are doing lawfare. Wow. Let's assume that's true. Good. That's defense against Democratic lawfare. The Democrats took $1 billion, again, not making this up. I say it publicly. You can check it yourself. $1 billion set it aside to kick people off the ballot. Blatant lawfare. And you're mad because these got together? The Democrats threw Bobby off, destroyed him, attacked him, called him names, were horrible towards him, and they want him to just go, okay. No. Now he's getting you back and you're mad. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Sorry about that. There it is. Ryan says, Larry, being an ist or a phobe gets you canceled and banned from appearing on CNN or Fox. Yes. You're not wrong. Yes. You are not wrong. So, all righty. Carrie says, speaking of jails, that's an ignored voting base. Do you mean people in jail? Or do you mean felons? I'm not sure which one you mean. Felons in New York can vote. Most don't know that. They don't tell you. But you can. You have to do I forgot what it's called. There's a document you need to fill out and request, which makes no sense to me. You should just get your voting rights back once you're done, right? Once you're done, right? You do your time. And once you're back out in the world and you're working, paying taxes, whatever, get your rights back. People, but they're dangerous people. Then keep them in jail. I'm not being mean. If you're saying someone should no longer be in jail for whatever they've done their time, whatever, or they were innocent, whatever the rules are, you're done. You're not in prison anymore. You should get all your rights back. Voting rights, Second Amendment rights, everything. If you're that dangerous, stay in jail. Stay in prison. I don't get it. And I'm not being mean. I'm being forward. If you are that dangerous person and you can't be whatever, then stay in while you're out. But if you're not, and they decided you can be free again, great. All your rights get back. You can in New York State, you have to fill out I forgot the name of the form, but there's a form you have to fill out. If you fill out that form and submit it, you can get your voting rights back. You can do it. So yes. All righty. Let's see here if I can grab some more. You guys give me so many. I'm going to stop falling behind. I apologize. So yes. Pickerbell says, every time Larry says that, I picture Al Gore busting a move. That is what I want you to think. If I say the actual word together, then it kicks in, and then it thinks that I'm trying to school around, and it punishes me. So if you notice that people on YouTube, that's not true on Rumble. Rumble, I can say what I want. Twitter, I can say what I want. It's only on the tube of you. In fact, if I say to click the certain thing, they will also hear that early on and punish you for that. You can't say it early on. I'm not joking. There's all kind of rhythms that screwed up, which is why you hear me say early on, click the button that is like. Because the rhythm picks it up and decides what it is. So that's why I change my words a lot. People say all the time, you got to change how you use the words. I say the jab and the bug or the virus because I can't say the word. So yes, I always try that. So there we go. Jennifer says, yes, you were correct. Yes, yes. Again, I do a lot of this. I pay attention. Yes, 100%. So, all right. John says, the duopoly polls normally just do an A-B poll. Yes, did it to Johnson in 2016 to keep him off. Absolutely correct. Yes. Gene says, maybe RFK Jr. had a reason to suspect that he might no longer be above ground if he didn't drop out. I don't think so, Gene. It's possible, but I don't think so. And the reason why I say it is, again, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I don't think so because I feel like that's just too damn obvious and too many people would want to look into that, and there's a chance somebody gets caught. And, you know, in today's world, that's challenging, right? Challenging. Maybe. I don't want to say you are, but I think they were able to crush him without doing that, so why? Right, they were already able to do that, so why? So yeah. So, in any case, Kawine Calendar says, my only problem is you think that JFK Jr. has a good idea. I think you mean RFK about Israel, that it can influence Trump so you can get more loaded. That they don't like. Is that to me? I hope that's not to me. I've never said that. I've never said. I assume you mean RFK. I've never said RFK Jr. has a good idea about Israel. I've never said that ever. You've never heard me say that. Never have I said that ever. So that's incorrect. I don't know why you would say that. I have never said that ever. No way. Yes. Gail says, nothing we want can be solved by bringing people together. Brilliant. Yes. 100% true. Yes. Steve, thank you, sir, says, RFK's comments on Ukraine would be spot on. I was amazed he had the bravery to call it the neocon. Yes, absolutely. Look, he is generally anti-war. I don't like his stance on Israel. I don't. But still, I've always said that. But generally speaking, he is the least warmonger of the top three. The least warmonger, I think, overall, the most pro-peace candidate is both Jill Stein and Chase Oliver, hands down. They would end the wars ASAP, right? They're the number one, but they're not making the impact. No one's even hearing them. RFK Jr. is the one. Again, he was able to get in front of those people and say that, right? The other two, they can't get that. They cannot get that audience. They just won't be able to. And people are going to say, why? It's not fair. You're right. They can't raise the cash. They just can't raise the cash. As horrible as that sounds, it's just true. And I would rather have him talk about that, right? Yes. Grace says, CNN is pompous and insufferable. Yes, I can't watch them. I mean, I have to sometimes, but yes, absolutely. Yes. That is my entire piece. Yes. Yeah. The anti-corporate says, I actually came over here. I was the only one on Twitch and you weren't paying attention to any of the last 37 things I said. I got 80,000 comments, anti-corporate. I'm sorry. I'm glad you came over. Twitch, I'm not very popular on Twitch. To be forward, I'm most popular, I think, on Twitter. I tend to get at least 1,000 or several thousand views on Twitter. I'm most popular on Twitter. I'm least popular on Twitch. Twitch, I often get like 5 views. Yeah, I'm even more popular on Getter. I'm actually on Getter too. This also goes on Getter. I get about 200 views on Getter, give or take. So not that popular on Getter. Getter isn't that big anyway. But again, I never know when I'm going to get canceled. So I have 8 different platforms. Come to any of them. If one gets canceled, I got a bunch more. So yes. Sally says, any recommendation on talking to people that now think he's sold to Trump? Yes, it is to say, if he had just dropped out and endorsed him, that would be true. But he didn't. They are saying that because they want you to think that. That's the point. They are saying that because they want you to think that. The reality of it is, and I said it before and I'll say it again, I said it in that interview this morning, I say it again, if you're not in a swing state and you want to vote for Bobby, you still can, but not just that, you should. The 5% number is a real number. It's a real thing. It is why Bobby was fighting in the first place for an independent movement. It is what we thought with Gary Johnson in 2016, where they fought him. They thought he might get it. The 5% is a real number. If he just sold to Trump, he wouldn't be going for that. He would just drop out completely. Just drop out and do that. But he's not. He would have ended his campaign. He did not. He physically said more than once, I am not ending my campaign. His words, not mine. His words, I'm not ending my campaign. I'm just suspending it. You can still vote for me. His words, and now mine. So that's what you tell him. Look, if he sold out, he would just drop out, name off the ballot, walk away. Didn't do that. You still want to vote for him? Vote for him. You still can. Up to you. So yes. All right. Let's see if I can go here. Jennifer says, Larry, I'm pushing you on everyone. Thank you. Every bit counts. Yes, absolutely. 100%. That's great. All righty. If I can grab a couple more of these. So many of these. I'm trying to go through them, but they zip by so fast because you guys have thrown up so much. And I appreciate it. Thank you. I want to say thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Yes. Michael says he kept Taft out of the White House. Oh, is that true? I'm actually going to put... They're the same time frame, isn't it? Yeah. You know, I'm pretty good with my history, as you guys know, that I tend to be pretty good with history, but this one I didn't remember. Mike, I'm going to check that one out. I'm not sure how that actually worked. I do appreciate that. Yeah, let me try that. Gene goes, innocent until proven broke. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Ryan goes, buy the poll. Yes, 100%. Yeah, Ryan says, whoever came up with the name Sharpies for the membership, I salute you. That was me, but wasn't me. What I mean by that is I had heard that name before. People used to tease me because when I would go out and when I was campaigning, people would often want me to sign things. Particularly shirts and bumper stickers was a very popular thing they wanted me to sign. So I would start carrying two Sharpies, a gold one and a black one. Why a gold one? Because sometimes the thing they wanted me to sign was dark and the black one wouldn't show up well. So I have to sign with a gold one. So I have a gold Sharpie and a black Sharpie. And we say, Larry has his Sharpies. Larry, Sharpie, Sharpies. That's where that came from 2018. I just put it here. So that's where that comes from. So I still to this day, I have a series. Here's one. I have one right here. I have a series of Sharpies. I have lots of them. Because when I go around still, when I cover the state, people often want me to sign something, a book or something like that, whatever. And if I ever do fundraisers, if I have someone popular in the room when I'm doing a fundraiser, I will often auction off their signature on something. So I keep a Sharpie with me, usually a black and a gold. I don't have a gold with me around. I have one around here somewhere. But I keep a black and a gold Sharpie around me so that when I want to auction something off and get someone's signature, they can sign in black or gold. So that's what happens when you do this so much. So yeah. All righty. Let's see here. Snyder says, good to see you. Big things happening in Tampa. I'm supposed to come see you. Did I miss coming to see you, Nate? Was I supposed to come see you and support you for something? Did you guys reach out to me? Somehow you and I were supposed to do something together, and I forgot what it was. We were supposed to do something together. I know I had you on. For those of you who haven't seen, Snyder is running, Nate Snyder is running in Florida. Great guy, single dad, busting his ass. If you have a chance, check him out. I did an interview with him here on this YouTube channel. You can check out Snyder and put in Snyder in the search bar and Larry Sharpe. You'll see it. Did a great job here. A lot of stuff going on. If you can support him, he's a great guy running down in Florida. I owe you something, Nate. I forgot what it is. I think I've dropped the ball, and I apologize if I have. I know I owe you something. Reach out to me so we can figure out what's going on. I know I owe you something. But yes, please check him out, guys. He's a great guy doing a lot of good work down there. Awesome. Yes. All righty. Peter says she's going to mop the floor with Donnie Dumb. I'm not sure. I don't know. I feel like she's got a good shot, though, Peter. I think you may be right. He's got a good shot. She's got a good shot at beating Trump. She does, because she's always time to prep, and prep time matters, right? She doesn't have to campaign. Trump's got a campaign. He's got to be out here doing stuff. right? She doesn't. She can literally take 3, 4, 5 hours per day, which is what I'd have her doing. That's what I'd do if I was training her to prep. People think that Trump's just going to beat her. Peter, I think you may be right. And it's not because I think Trump's bad or anything. It's just because, and not because I think Kamala's good or Harris is good. Harris will have time to prepare, right? This is an issue that Trump is not going to have. He's going to run around a campaign. Harris is doing nothing but preparing all day. That's all she's doing now. She's doing any work. She's just prepping. A lot of prep can make her good enough to win. So I think that can happen. Yes. The anti-corporate just says, that's such BS. They're private, but they're not. Yeah, they're private for the good parts and not for the bad parts. Correct. Yes, exactly right. They're private for the good parts and not for the bad, of course. Yes. Mark says, I hope to see you come to Saratoga County. I will be there, 100%. Yes, you know I go across. 100%. Yes. Absolutely. Roy says, so the convict can vote. The convict, yes, that's correct. Yes. And he should be able to, Roy, as long as he's not in prison. To be clear, I do not believe, and some people will disagree with me, I do not think prisoners in prison should vote. I don't believe that. Some people do believe that. Bernie Sanders, I don't believe that. If you're in prison, you have lost your rights for that time period. My issue is once you're done, once you've paid your debt, and you should be able to vote. Once you're out, I absolutely 100%. I think that's true. People disagree with me, but I think if you paid your debt, you paid your debt. You're done. So yes, you're done. So, all right. Let's see here. What if you're supposed to be out of jail, but someone in power keeps you in jail longer so you can work for the state? Yeah, who did that, Gene? Oh, go back to what Kalito said. If you're not free, she has joy. So, yes. There we go. Yes. That's good. Pickerbo says, talking to yourself in Twitch chat. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, we do what we must. That's all. Yes. Carly says, Vermont and one of the state allows voting while in prison. And I get that. I think that's not a good, I think if you're in prison, I can understand that completely. I do understand it completely. Yes. I do understand it completely. Yeah. But I think once you're out, you're out. So yes, I think that's the issue. Once you're out, you're out. Yes. All righty. And I caught redacted with Clayton Morris posting in giant bold letters saying RFK drops out. I left a message in giant bold letters saying no, RFK did not drop out. He's done his campaign. Thank you, Nancy. But again, they want that to happen, right? Mari says, can RFK Jr. trust Trump? Susie Wiles, one of Trump's senior advisors, she is a huge big pharma lobbyist. She represents Pfizer. Somebody warned Bobby. Okay, I mentioned this just so you're clear. I think your concern is a valid concern. 100% a valid concern. The issue here is if he has a third party, that means he can run on his own or have people he supports run in 2026, 2028. That fear should help to keep Trump to do the right thing. Second, because you are correct. Second, if you heard, he was talking about other people also going in to the administration. If Trump does what he says, assuming he does, they won't just be Bobby. There'll be other people that Bobby recommends also joining, which means you would have to stifle all of them. Could that be done? Yes, but then it becomes obvious. It becomes a conspiracy. It becomes a problem. People begin to notice. So if Bobby does this right, which I talked about this in my other one, he's talking about not just him, but others. So if it's just Bobby, you're right. Bobby goes in, they make sure he has no support. He has no money, and he fails. Of course. And then they say he's kook, he's crazy, see, he doesn't work. But if he has many people in there together, now all of them have to fail a whole lot harder. And that's why he was talking about people going in, if you remember that from his conversation. And on top of that, having a party that now can bring other people in, can fight against Trump, can fight against Republicans. This is his insurance to the best of his ability. I think that's it. So your point's a very well taken one. I agree. Yeah, that's why I get around it. Liberty says, Larry auctioned a signed book at our event and helped our local power raise money. Yes. She says, I'm sorry, Larry auctioned a signed book at our event and helped our local party raise money for that. I do it often. So yes, I do it often. So that's why I have Sharpies. That's why I'm the Sharpie guy. That's the reason. Again, I know I go long sometimes, but I want you guys to understand, right, why I do what I do and how this stuff works. And the more you know, the stronger you are at defending it. Guys, I know I haven't asked you in a while. I'm going to ask you right now. Click the button that is like if you haven't already. Wherever you are watching, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, share this now. Just retweet it, repost it, share it, whatever the case may be. Every bit counts. Regardless of what you want to do, please, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. More subscribers, the better. And click notifications if you can. You guys have been super chatting. Thank you so much. Every super chat happens. And a bunch of new members. Thank you so much for being a member. I appreciate that. Every little bit counts so we can keep this going. I can spend more time doing this and less time taking advantage of New York State's jobs programs for political consultants. I can do more of this and not that. See that? It works. We're helping everybody. It's nothing but good for everybody. I love that. Paula goes on to say, comment after the show. Yes, Mr. Rhythm, as we've been talking about, Al Gore, Rhythm. Yes, he loves when you come back after the show's over and comment. Loves that. Let's make him happy. Please do that. I will actually, I'll respond to as many of them as I possibly can, either later on tonight or tomorrow. Guys, I want to say thank you, as always, for giving me a chunk of your evening. You gave me 2 hours tonight. I really appreciate it. I can go longer, I can, but I think some of you have a life. I do. Some days. Not every day. Some days. Actually, this is my life. Who am I kidding? This is my life. I'm living my life right now. This is my life. Anyway, I will be back on tomorrow. I'll be on tomorrow, probably sometime around 7 p.m. I think I will be. I may be doing a war show. I'm considering that. Monday morning, 10 a.m., I'll be at Hard Lens Media with my buddy, Kit Cabello. Check that out at 10 a.m. Eastern on Monday. Also, Monday night, 9 p.m., I'm back in action with the Sharpe Club. I'll be back on the Sharpe Club at 9 p.m. And I will be on Monday, 1 p.m., my live radio show out of Rochester, New York. You can call in and talk to me if you want to. I'll be on then. I will see you all very soon.